Welcome to Backstage with Becca B with special guest Hayley Podschun. Hi everyone, and welcome to this episode of Backstage with Becca B. On this episode, she made her Broadway debut at age 12 when she was a standby for Brigitta and Louisa in Sound of Music. Since then, she's been in shows such as Sunday in the Park with George, Hello Dolly, Chaplin, Anything Goes, Hairspray, where she played Tammy and understudied Penny and Amber, Wicked, where she played Glinda, and many more shows. Please welcome Hayley Podschun. How have you been during this time? Because weird time.
I've been really good. I've been lucky that I've seen my parents a lot. I've spent a lot of time with them. I've been busy with different jobs. I was collecting unemployment for a little bit, as all actors were. And then, then what did I do? Then I worked as a nanny for a little bit. I left the country. I went to Australia and Canada. And then I came back and I was working as a casting producer. That job just finished, and then we'll have some more jobs later. So now on the side, I'm half casting producer, half actor, host, whatever person. So I've been busy.
Wow, you do everything, because I was looking at your resume last night and I was like, has she stopped working since the age of 12?
No. I'm very lucky. I don't like to not work. So anytime that I'm not working, I will always find something to do.
I was so overwhelmed reading your resume. And this was later on my list, but since I'm bringing it up now, how do you balance everything?
I think I'm just a person who I like being really busy. So I'm able to balance it just because I enjoy doing that. Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's naturally in me to be able to do that. I don't know how to explain it.
Do you ever sleep or
Oh, yes, I sleep a lot. I love to sleep. It's bad how much I like to sleep.
Okay, because I was like, does she have time to, where would she fit that in her schedule?
Yep, I love a nap, especially with my dog, wherever she is. We love a good nap, an afternoon nap when we have time. And I love to sleep. I have the most comfortable bed, so I'm always wanting to sleep in there.
Yes. Well, that's good. You at least have time to sleep.
Yes.
So, have you always known that you wanted to be a theater performer?
Yeah, unfortunately. So when I made my Broadway debut in The Sound of Music, I was living my childhood and lifelong dream at 12 years old. And it was a really hard moment for me when we got our closing notice, because I saw that these adults who had a job one day, the next day didn't. And then we didn't know, the next time that they would even have a job. It could be 3 days, 5 weeks, or 7 months, or 5 years. That's just the horribleness of our nature, of our business. It's up in the air and you never know when the next job's coming. So that really, really affected me as a kid. And I was like, I'm not going to be an actor anymore at all. And it was kind of when the internet was really first starting. That's how old I am. I was going on to job websites, looking at what other jobs I could do that was not being an actor. And then when it came time to apply for colleges, I was like, I don't really know what else I want to do or can do or I'm good at. So I guess I'll just go for theater. It was kind of my fallback career. But it's all I love doing. And I'm really lucky that I've been able to literally make a huge career out of it.
Yeah. Because I was going to say, as I said, your resume speaks for itself. You have gotten so many not only Broadway, but the regional shows that you've done. It's such a long
the regional shows, honestly, I've made such amazing lifelong friends from those regional shows. And God, I wish regional shows paid as much as Broadway did, because I'd be so happy the rest of my life just doing regional theater, because one, you get to travel, you get to kind of live life like a normal person. And have a car and go to Target and Home Goods with a car, which is like dreams. And, get to see different places around the country and meet lots of different people and experience different foods and sightsee. I just love that. So I love doing regional theater. It's so much fun.
And the turnaround for regional theater is so quick that you're like changing shows. So it's like every 2 weeks or something, you get to do like a new show.
It's quick. So each contract kind of varies. So like we'll take the Muni, for example. I'm supposed to be there this summer. Ooh. You rehearse, I think, for like 11 days, and then you do your show for 8 or 9 nights, and then you're done. And that contract's done. And then, you might go somewhere else. You might go to Goodspeed, where I did Holiday Inn, the original cast. And we were there for like, they kept extending the show because it was doing so well. But we were there for, gosh, I want to say like 4 months, which is extremely long for regional contracts. Yeah. But then, gosh, a theater that I might be at this fall, that's a 6-week contract. So it's like you get to live in different places here and there. Sorry, my street is so loud right now.
Oh, you're all good. You're all good. It happens. It happens. What was the first show you ever saw that made you like go, I can do this as a career?
Oh God. Well, I think the first show I ever saw that I like was obsessed with, I feel like everyone's answer is this, male or female, is Annie.
I knew
everyone. I saw it at the Starlight Theater in Kansas City, where I'm from. And my parents said that I stood up on my chair in the middle of the show and like pointed to the stage and was like, that's what I want to do. And I'm like, okay, did I? But I probably did.
Probably.
And then, gosh, as a career, maybe it was that, because ever since then I was in dance classes and doing all, improv classes. I was doing every class possible. So I guess that. Yeah, we'll just say that.
Yes. Who doesn't see kids playing Annie and they're like, I want to do that too.
It's a Hard Knock Life, I think, is full of like theater drugs. Something in that song, like as soon as it starts, I feel like every child in the audience is like, oh, it's like the green hand from Little Mermaid. They're like, come to the dark side.
Even the overture though for Annie is like just like chills. It's so my favorite. I knew you were gonna say Annie when you started going. Everyone says this.
What was yours, Annie?
Yes. I did theater as a kid. Now I'm more behind the scenes, but I did theater as a kid, and that was the show that like I was first in. My parents were like, here, there's a production of Annie you can be in. And I was like a little bitty orphan in the ensemble.
Yeah, of course. Which one were you?
I was just like they had like a big ensemble.
Oh, okay.
So I was like 5 years old and I was like in the ensemble.
Oh my God. I got to play Kate when I did Annie at like a high school. They like brought in kids and I was Kate. And then we did Annie Warbucks. Have you heard of Annie Warbucks?
Yeah.
You must visit it. You must visit the best recording. And I played Molly in that one.
Oh, so, the best. I love Molly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, as I've mentioned, you're no stranger to Broadway. You made your Broadway debut when you were 12. You were a standby in The Sound of Music. Did you know what a standby was before getting cast in Sound of Music?
No, I don't think so. They told me, you'll cover Louisa and Brigitta, and then, you'll learn both. And if one of them is sick, injured on a personal day or on vacation, then you're on. And I'm so thankful for my dance studio, Miller Marley School of Dance and Voice in Kansas City. I don't think they knew they were doing this, but they trained every single person who was we have a lot of entertainer groups, like different ages and different types of entertainment groups. So when I was there, it was called the Entertainers, naturally. Ooh. And it was a lot of like high school kids until like some middle school. It was like the higher level. And then they had the mini-tainers. And then the group started getting bigger. You had the ballet company, you had the hip hop, I don't know, competition. Now they're like big in the competition. Yes. But in entertainers and in mini-tainers, we'd perform every weekend at like a mall or a trade show or something, or a nursing home. And, let's say that Sarah wasn't available to be at this one spot for this one number. And then the next number, Allie wasn't available. Well, you just all knew each other's parts. So you had to be able to just, oh, I can do that part and do that part for that number and that number. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think unbeknownst to them, they were training us with like a swing brain. So learning two roles for me, and kids are sponges, it was easy, no brainer for me to like learn two roles. And if at any moment they're like, okay, you're on, it's like, okay. And now as an adult, it's like, I gotta pop my nervous pills, and I'm like, I can't do it. But
yeah, I was like, what is that pressure like as a 12-year-old to be like, hey, you're gonna be covering two roles. You have to memorize two roles. Like, good luck.
I loved it.
Go.
Hardest part for that particular show was just the vocals, because in the song proper, The Sound of Music, all three kids, I think it's 3-part harmony for all 7 kids, and it's all a cappella. And so you get your note from the guitar off stage. Our Friedrich played the notes for us. And then it was like, good luck. You're on Broadway. Now sing it correctly. So for me, that was the hardest part, because it was just two different vocal lines that I had to learn.
And it's a cast of like 7 kids holding the show together, basically.
Yeah. From 5 until like, I think like 21 was our Liesel,
So they're like, here, hope you all can harmonize together and like figure this out. Hope the little one can figure it out too.
A 5-year-old. And then we also, there were 3 offstage covers. So there was me, who covered the middle girls. And then we had a girl who covered Gretel and Marta.
Wow.
So she's little. She's like 6 or 7. And then we have an older girl who's in the ensemble who covers Liesel. And then we have one boy off stage with us who covers Friedrich and Kurt. So it was nuts.
My goodness. Do you remember the day that you made your Broadway debut?
Yes. I was supposed to it was a matinee day. I went to the theater to get my boots for rehearsal. I had rehearsal that day. They would rehearse us off stage covers at least once a week, so we could like run the show. And that was on top of understudy rehearsals. They'd just rent a studio and we'd go run the show with the dance captain. And I think I had like left my shoes. I needed my shoes for rehearsal. And I go into my dressing room, and my dresser was changing my shoelaces from laces to elastics. And I was like, what are you doing? And she's like, you're on today. And I was like, what? Well, like, keep in mind, this is when pagers were a really big deal. So like my mom had a pager, and I think they had been trying to page her, but like she wasn't able to get it or something. So luckily I was at the theater early, and they told me, and I don't remember really the rest of like from there until when I went on stage, but I do remember like my first entrance, I was on for Louisa. My first entrance was through a trap in the deck, and I had to go up some stairs to the deck and then enter through these huge glass doors. And I remember being in the ground, and I could see one of the flymen up in the flies, and he waved to me. He was like, good luck. And I was like, goodness. Oh my God. And then, your first entrance is standing still in a line, and you're just facing the audience in silence. Yeah. So it was like having this like, oh crud moment of like, this is happening.
Yeah.
It was insane.
But I feel like as a kid, it's like more excitement than nervousness probably. And then like as an adult, it's more nervousness. But like 12 is kind of the cusp of like teenager. So
yeah. Well, and I celebrated my 13th birthday during that contract too. It was like 2 days after the show closed. It was the saddest birthday you've ever seen. I was so heartbroken. But yeah, I think I was more, this is so gross to say, but I really felt like more professional, because I was like, I have to do a good job. And I do remember saying in my head, don't step forward when it's Brigitta's turn, because you are Louisa, you are Louisa. I had to keep saying that in my head, because they step forward and then back. And
you're like, who am I today?
Yeah, I was like, there was to the audience, no one would ever know. But in my head, there was like a half a second where before I said my name of like, who are you in the line? Louisa, you know?
And you're a perfectionist as a theater performer. So like
Yes.
that like 1 millisecond can make a huge difference of
Huge,
disappointment.
huge.
Yes, yes. So what was the hardest thing about being a child actress on Broadway?
Oh, nothing. Like honestly, like everyone made it so great. The adults were amazing. My guardians were incredible. There's still child guardians to this day of kids on Broadway, so I get to see them here and there. Like honestly, nothing. Like they made it so easy, and I had been trained so well that it was just like a joy. Oh, that's me.
That's
Sorry. Please,
good.
girl.
I
Come here.
have a dog too, so I completely get it. I locked her out of the room.
Let's get her. Why not?
Yes, why not?
Yeah.
Oh, little cutie. What's her name?
This is Maisie.
Maisie. That's my grandmother's dog's name. Good name. Good name.
Yes.
So what was your favorite part about being a child actress on Broadway? I have to ask then.
I think it was like you were part of this special club. Like you were part of Broadway Kids, right? And there was a thing at the time called Broadway Kids. I never got to be in Broadway Kids, but I got to go to a few events for Broadway Kids.
Ooh.
Which was so cool because I had the cassette tape of Broadway Kids.
I had all of them.
I'm sure yours weren't cassette tapes though, were they?
Well, I had all of the CDs.
Okay, that's good.
Yes.
But like some of my friends were on those cassette tapes, and then to like get to go to these events was cool. But anyone who was a kid on Broadway at that time, we all knew each other. We were all friends. Like we'd all hang out. We'd go to each other's birthday parties or, you know, closing night parties. Like for the kids, right? Because once the kids grow a certain level, they can't be at the show anymore. So there were a lot of like, yay, you did the show. Yes. It was just so fun. We just had the best time.
So it was kind of like a school within the Broadway community. So you're not really missing out on any like school experience that you get at that age. It's more.
Yeah, no. And you're getting paid to do it. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. I remember we had, I can't remember the name of it, but it's those Broadway in the Alley, Schubert Alley. It was like one of those concerts in Schubert Alley. And like, I just remember we got to meet like, I remember getting a picture with like Scott Wolf and like, I think Bernadette was there.
Oh my goodness.
Like all these people who at the time where I was like, oh, and they're just like, hey, it was like not a big deal, you know? And I was like, what's happening?
Like, it's your life? Starstruck moment. So
100%.
After Sound of Music, you did Hairspray. And you did just about everything Hairspray. You did the national tour, you did Broadway, and you did the movie Hairspray too.
Yes.
How did you get involved with Hairspray?
Oh gosh. So my freshman year of college, I was in Boston for school, and a girlfriend of mine, we took the bus to come to New York. I don't think we came for the audition. I think it was maybe just happening. I can't remember. But it was an open call. I think I have my equity card still. Yeah. I can't remember all the details. Doesn't matter. But we danced, and I felt so bad. I made it to the end, and like she was so sweet. She was like, "No, I'll wait for you." And we were there for like 8 hours. And I was like, "You can go, and like I'll meet you somewhere else." Like I felt so bad. So they asked me to stay and sing till the very, very end. And then I heard nothing. And that was in like November of my freshman year. And then summer, what would have been into my sophomore year. So a couple months later of that summer, I'm shopping for bedding with my mom for my apartment for sophomore year in Boston. but we're shopping in Kansas City. And I get a call from Telsey's office and they're like, hey, we have an appointment tomorrow. Cause I had no agent. We have an appointment for you tomorrow for Hairspray for a replacement for the tour. Can you come? And I was like, Mom, they want me to go. And she's like paying for my bedding. And she's like, tell them you'll be there. I was like, okay, I'll be there. So they put me on a flight that night. I stayed with a friend on their couch. Funny enough, it was Jack Noseworthy, and his husband is Sergio Trujillo, who's an amazing Broadway choreographer.
Oh.
So I stayed on their couch, and then the next morning I had my invited call audition, and there were probably like 20 of us girls. We learned a dance, and they had sent us some Penny and Amber sides and songs. And like, at that time, I mean, I can belt now, but like I prefer to sing Glinda high colored or soprano stuff. So I had to like belt my face off. It's Hairspray, right? And I was like, I can't do this. I don't know how, but like vocal gods entered my body and out came this huge belt in my audition. And I was like, wow, I didn't know I could do that. And then I head to the airport and I'm getting ready to board my flight and I get a call from Telsey and they're like, hey, give us a call. But it's like 7:00 at night and no one's in the office. So I call my parents and they're like, do you need to stay? And I'm like, I don't think so. So I fly back to Kansas and then I call them the next morning and they're like, you got the role. And I was like, what? Which role? Like, I didn't know which nicest kid I would be. And they're like, you'll be Tammy covering Penny and Amber.
Oh my goodness.
And you start in like 3 weeks or 4 weeks. I don't know. So my parents called my school and was like, Hayley will not be coming back to school.
She's understudying 2 roles in a show, 2 lead roles. Wow.
Yep. So what would have been my sophomore year of college, I got to tour around the country with the first national tour of Hairspray. It was amazing.
Wow.
It was so cool. I was 19, like those poor people. We were all so young on that tour, but 19 is like really young to go on tour. Like I had no idea how to cook anything. Like I remember a girlfriend of mine taught me how to like cook chicken on the stovetop. I was like, I don't know how to do any of this.
How do I live by myself on tour?
Had no idea. And then the film came up towards the end of tour. Everyone was scrounging, like, how do I audition for this? How do I audition for this? So it was kind of like no one wanted to tell each other if they got an appointment because it was like, I want the movie. No, I want the movie. And I have no idea how this happened, but I got the phone number for the casting director in LA and we were going to be in LA and I was going to be playing Penny at that time on the tour. I had like been bumped up. And the casting director like took me out to lunch. We went and had chicken and waffles. Like I still to this day, I'm like, how does this happen? I don't know.
Like this was a dream.
Yes. And then what's so cuckoo is in LA at the time, I don't know if they still do this because I've been in New York for so long, but in LA, people really liked to wear costumes for auditions. So like we didn't steal our costumes. We got them like by permission from our wardrobe supervisor. She would be like, there's a box for you by the stage door. And it was like an extra Tammy costume. And like, or like someone wore their full Dynamite costume to the audition, like wig, gloves, red dress. I mean,
oh my goodness.
All out in LA. It was so wild.
Love it.
But only 2 of us from the whole Hairspray world got cast. It was me and my friend Jesse Weaver. He played IQ in the movie. We were both on the tour at the time. So we auditioned like that day and then Adam Shankman and then his team came to the show that night and I was on for Penny. You know, that was my Penny time. And then I get a call the next morning saying, you got the movie. And then we started rehearsals in Toronto. The tour closed in like June. And I think we started rehearsals a week after in Toronto.
what's the main difference of being live on stage, performing live on stage, and performing for a camera? Because I know there's like for one, like you're doing takes over and over again for the camera.
Yes. You're doing it over and over for camera, but the biggest difference is at the end of your number, there's no applause.
You're like, wait.
So for us theater people, we'd finish nicest kids in town, hoot.
Yeah.
It's completely silent. And we're all in our poses and we're like, were we good? And then they're like, cut. And then we'd be like, were we good? We don't know.
We don't know because no one applauded.
Right.
So Hairspray is a really upbeat show. How did you work on stamina while touring the country for that show and like dancing and like being able to take care of your health? Because that's impressive. That's hard.
I know. And I wish I could go back and do it because the amount of stamina we had to have. I teach Hairspray a lot because it's one of my favorite things to teach. And it doesn't require like too much technique. It's more like energy and fun. And yes, if you have technique, it's gonna look so much better. But I teach Nicest Kids in Town, and I only teach like a minute and a half of it, and I am dead. And that's the opening. Well, not the opening, but it's like the big opening number, right?
Yeah.
And we're singing during that.
And
dancing. And then you have the whole rest of the show. And I'm like, how did we do this? I think it truly was, we were all so young. We had no idea. It was just like, you just do it, right?
Yeah.
So I think it was that. I think it was age. And we were just like, well, this is our job. This is what you do.
But I think like a common misconception is that like touring is like just like fun and easy and like just glamorous. But it's like you're traveling on your off days and also like dancing on stage and singing on stage 8 times a week. So
yeah. And you're dealing with different air qualities in different cities and different pillows if you're not traveling with your own pillow, different mattresses, different theaters. So your dressing room in one theater might be really close to the stage, or in a different theater it's going to be really far away. So you kind of have to time, are you back in your room or are you on deck in your gondola area where you're changing? It's very different. And some theaters, like some are brand new, some are not. So it's really,
you have to go in and like sound check too.
Yep. We sound check right before our first show in every city.
And there's press and everything. And so it's like, you're not really getting a whole lot of time to see the city you're actually in.
Right. And so when I joined Hairspray, the tour had already been out for a while and they had just finished their long sit downs. I joined at the very end of DC, which I think that for them was like a 6 or 8 week stay. Yeah. And then they had a week off and then it went into 1 weekers. So every Monday, which was our day off, we traveled. Now on Wicked, when I did the Wicked tour, we would sit down anywhere between 3 and 5 weeks. So I'd at least get time off in between, a week here and there, but Hairspray was traveling every day off. So it was hard.
Oh my goodness. How do you make characters like Penny and Amber your own? Because they're such different characters in the show, but they're characters that the movie was my introduction to Hairspray because I hadn't ever been to NYC before. So I had never gotten to see the show live, but like, how do you make those characters your own? Because they're amazing characters.
They're so fun. Oh my gosh. And I would love to do the show the rest of my life. It's so much fun. You just get to bring yourself and we're all different individuals and no one is you, no one's me. So there's little things that you have to kind of bring in for the character, but you get to bring yourself. And that's what's so nice about our business too.
Did you have a favorite character between Penny and Amber to play? And if so, why?
Yeah, I liked playing Penny. I loved her. She's just like such a dork and she was so funny. And, that transformation at the end was so great. I just loved her. She was awesome.
I mean, I have to agree with Penny being the best character because I hosted like a little after show thing after Hairspray Live, or like co-hosted one after Hairspray Live, and I dressed like she would, and I was very excited. I felt like I was her.
Yes. Now, did you do the Amanda Bynes pigtails or did you do the Broadway poof?
I did the Amanda Bynes one.
Okay. It's so interesting to see people's versions of Penny because
Yeah.
my version is the Broadway one, right?
Yeah.
But I love that our movie has kind of made our own version of, a Penny or someone.
I love pigtails, so like obviously.
Apparently I do too. I'm like rocking these space buns today.
Yes. So you also went to Broadway with Hairspray, and you played both Amber and Penny on Broadway with Hairspray. When did you hear that you'd be going to Broadway and doing Hairspray there?
That's a great question and a good story. So I had a week off in between the tour and the film when we started rehearsals for the film. And then literally my first day of filming for the movie, I get a call from casting in New York, and they're like, hey, we want you for the Broadway company for Tammy, the role that I played on tour, who covers Penny and Amber. Yeah. And I was like, amazing. I'm not done shooting until I think it was like December 1st. And they're like, great, you start December 3rd. So I finished December 1st. I'm making up this date, but it was sometime in December. And then I flew to New York. And then the next day I started rehearsals, and I think I had like maybe a week of rehearsals. Like I had just done the show, right? Probably like 7 months before. And then I opened very quickly after.
But is staging different from tour to Broadway? Because like the stages are smaller.
Yeah, the staging was a little different. Like on Broadway, oh gosh. So in like Mama, I'm a Big Girl Now, there were these I forget what we call them, but there were these walls that folded, and like our heads would pop out, and like we'd do this thing. And on Broadway we had that, and on tour we used to have it, but they cut it down. They cut down a lot of stuff like to save money, to like cut down a truck. So they only had like one panel out on tour. So like we had the panels out for Broadway. There was the passerelle on Broadway. We didn't have a passerelle on tour. So like the boys and Nicest Kids would like jump over the passerelle, and I think in like Welcome to the 60s, we'd go out on the passerelle and like do stuff. But the choreography was different from the film to the stage versions. So like I had to go from, it sounds easy, but on the tour and the Broadway company, we pony with our arms, like strongman arms from up and side to side.
And it's different.
On the movie, they're straight and they go forward to this way. So that was a mind beep.
Yeah.
It was really rough to have to relearn like which pony is which. Just because it was ever so different.
It becomes muscle memory after
a
certain point or a certain time. Like after you do it for a certain length of time, you're like, okay, how do I switch off?
Exactly.
And I guess Sound of Music kind of prepared you early on for like processing a bunch of like different roles and tracks at the same time, because I feel like people would be stressed out by that. Like me, I would be like, what? Who am I today?
Oh, people are still stressed out. Like it doesn't matter how many Broadway shows you've done, if you've been a swing or an understudy or whatever, people still stress out. I still stress out if I'm understudying someone and I have to go on. I'm like, oh God, I don't want to do this.
Do you have a process for learning different roles?
Yes, I highlight different roles in different colors. So they're each like specific colors, because it's not like you're getting multiple scripts. You get one script, and then from there you got to do your homework. I try to take like specific notes that I might want to remind myself of, like, you exit in this wing as this particular character, and gosh, I don't know what else. You just like run through your show quickly before you do it. And try to remember mistakes that you did last time to make it better this time. It's even talking about it now, I'm like, oh, I'm nervous.
You're like, wait, which side of the stage do I exit?
Oh my God. It's like, I haven't had that anxiety for a long time. It's real. You guys, it's so real. Oh my God.
which, because there's choreography backstage.
There is. Yeah, there's a whole show
Yeah.
happening backstage that no one in the audience gets to see.
Yeah, when you're entering and exiting.
Yes.
And I want to get to Wicked because that's a huge show.
Yes.
But first, I want to bring up real quick, I saw you were dance captain for Sunday in the Park with George.
Yeah.
What is a dance captain on Broadway? What do you do as a dance captain?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, dance captains basically are in charge of making the show look good as soon as the creative team leaves. And before that as well, but there's the choreographer and then the assistant choreographer, and then you're kind of after the assistant choreographer or the associate. And the dance captain, you'll try to give notes like maybe once a week to people in the show that like, hey, this is kind of happening. How can we make this better? Or, make sure that your arm's not here, that it's here, something small. And you're also in charge with the stage manager of running understudy rehearsals once a week. You're in charge of like all the staging and the dance movements, and the stage manager is in charge of the staging instead of like the dance movements, right? So I think I was like 20 years old.
Wow.
Telling people what to do, and it was crazy. Sunday in the Park is not a dance show. It is a vocal, beautiful acting show. There's no dancing. But there were movement patterns for sure. And with our version, there was a lot of projections. So sometimes like Daniel Evans, who played George, he at one point, I remember, would have to pour like a champagne bottle, and his projection of himself, the bottle would fill up with champagne. And I remember sometimes like his champagne bottle was too high, or like he held it too far back and it didn't look realistic. So I had to go tell him like, hey, your bottle's not lining up very well. Can you make sure that he's like, oh my gosh, thank you. And I was very, very lucky. That cast, go Google that Roundabout Theater revival, the first revival. That cast was stacked with people. And they were all so kind to me. I was really lucky to be around them, and that they were nice enough to take my notes at 20 years old.
And a lot of people, when I ask them like what their like dream show is, a lot of people mention that show. So I feel like it's a very like popular show that people want to do, whether it's like a Broadway revival in the future or a regional production of it. I don't know why, but like I get it. It's
I know, I get it now having done it, but before then I did not really know any Sondheim. I'm a terrible theater person. I know Rodgers and Hammerstein very well. I grew up on Rodgers and Hammerstein and like the classics. So for me, like anything modern-ish, I didn't know. So after doing the show, I was like, oh, I get it. I understand. And I would love to do it again. But yeah, it's a special one for sure.
Yeah. So basically, dance captain, you're like watching everything happen on stage at once.
Yeah,
so,
you watch the show pretty much every night.
Another double tasking or like quadruple tasking moment for you.
Yeah, so in that show, I was dance captain and I covered 3 roles. And one of them had a German accent. So, it was...
Oh my goodness. You are a rock star.
Thank you.
Of course. So Wicked, what was your audition process like for Wicked? Wicked's a huge show, and obviously I saw somewhere on some bio that it was a dream role.
Yeah, it still is. It's still a dream role, even if I've done it. I'm like, I want to do it again. My audition process was 6 years.
Oh my goodness.
It was 6 years, and I think it was just right time, right place. I had matured to a point that was good with myself and vocally, acting wise. I mean, it just like, it worked out really, really well. And I'm so thankful it did, because I got to play my dream role and meet my best friend, Jenny Denoya, who was my alphaba, and we are inseparable and talk every single day.
What made you not want to give up over those 6 years? Because like auditioning is hard. It takes a lot out of you, I'm sure. And to like go back and be like, am I gonna get it this time? Or like when am I gonna get it? Am I gonna get it? Like what makes
Yeah.
you keep going in?
I think it was just such a dream role of mine that I was like, any opportunity I got to go in for it, I'm like, well, yeah, I'm going in. But I will say the last time I went in, I was like, I'm really tired of doing the same packet over and over for the same people. And they're constantly telling me no. I was kind of a little over it by then. But I went in and I think I prepared the best way that I could that go around because I was like, okay, this is my final go. And it went great.
What was your reaction when you got the yes?
Well, my agent called me and she said, "Are you ready to be popular?" And I was like,
You're
so
like, yes, I am.
it was nuts. I was doing Chaplin at the time, and all the girls in the dressing room knew that I was going in. Really, the whole theater knew I was going in. That show was in a very tiny theater at the Barrymore. We were all such a family. Everyone knew I had my Glinda audition, and the show was closing anyway, Chaplin.
Yeah.
And I went in that night and I was like, I got it. And everyone just screamed and was so happy for me. And it was nice to be able to share that like with my Chaplin family. Because we were all so close. It was lovely.
I feel like the first Glinda and Elphaba a person sees in Wicked has a lot to do with how much the person like loves Wicked and like etc. Who was the first Glinda and Elphaba you ever saw in Wicked?
Kristen and Adina.
Oh my
Front
gosh,
row.
jeez.
Front row. I saw it in previews. I think pretty much right before they opened. Yeah, front row.
Oh my goodness. Did
Insane.
things have you noticed things that changed from that preview that you saw to now?
The only thing I really remember changing, was in the opening, there used to be this huge witch's hat. You can find it in photos. I think it's in like a Wicked book or something. And I'm pretty sure that was in the show when I saw it. But other than that, I don't remember what changed. I just remember being like, oh my God, I have to play that role because Kristen Chenoweth was brilliant and like what a gift for a female role to be able to be funny and sincere and honest while singing coloratura
Right.
soprano and then like belting a little bit. I was like, this is a dream. It's a dream.
What was your Glinda debut like?
Oh God. It was in Rochester. I think I was quite nervous. I don't really remember. I feel like I blacked out the whole time.
Am I playing this role?
Yeah, I can't remember. I truly can't remember. I remember the theater. I had an amazing dresser, Amanda. We're still in contact with each other. Um, couldn't tell you.
How much freedom did you get as Glinda? Because I mean, Glinda's like as you mentioned, a three-dimensional character, and especially during popular, like I feel like a lot of Glindas just like they bring themselves into it really well. So like you must get like they must be like, okay, here, do whatever you want during this scene or something, or not like whatever you want, but like follow the blocking and like bring your energy.
Yeah, that's exactly it. They give you parameters of like, and you go over here and you do this thing, and then you go over here and then you come over here, but like they don't tell you how to go over there, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of like fill in the blanks here and there. Um, Definitely throughout, once you get more comfortable with the role, it does become a lot more your own. And then sometimes they'll be like, okay, let's like ring that, back in. Um, or they'll, be like,
Like
I
encourage.
think you can go more here. Usually that's never the case. They're all, I think every Glinda, they're like, you can bring that back.
But it's so fun when the Glindas are like a little bit like over the top extra because like I feel like everyone just like wants to see, especially during popular scene, everyone wants to be like, oh, that was different than the last person I saw. Like she did it this way and that was hilarious. Or
Yeah, and that's what's so scary is because popular is that type of number where everyone wants to do their own thing and make it super memorable. But for me, I've seen a lot of Glindas in the past where that becomes their one-man show, and I didn't want that. Yes, there are really funny moments, but I always wanted to ground her in reality and truthfulness. Um, Her truthfulness in that number, it just comes out of excitement, and it's she like the lid has popped off a bottle of champagne, right?
Yes.
Um,
Basically.
so it was a lot of pressure because the second you start that scene, when those two beds come out, you feel the audience go, "What do you
Yeah,
think?"
they like lean forward in their seat. They're like, "Oh, this is it. This is it."
Yeah, and the second those bing it happens, you're like, "Okay, here we go," and it's terrifying every single night.
No pressure, no pressure.
Yeah, it's
What was
it's
the funniest what was the funniest thing that happened during the popular scene?
I after a while I found this like demon voice, as like some of the fans called it, which I didn't I guess
Love
it
it.
was. Where now I forget the lines, but Elphaba says something and she's like, this is terrible of me. I don't know the lines at all, but she's like, I don't think I want to do that or something. And then I go, Elfie, you have to do this or whatever.
I know what you mean.
Someone's listening to this and they're like, Hayley, these are the lines. Anyway, so when Jenny would say whatever that line is, my head would be in the pillows and my butt's kind of facing the audience. I'm laying down on the bed and I would be, oh God, sorry.
All good.
And my voice, I would go, Elfie. And
Um,
it made everyone really laugh. So that was kind of my little Glinda-ish, my demon Glinda, as people called it. Because it was like,
that's amazing.
it was frustration of like, Elfie, no. Like, so that was my little thing, I guess. And then
Yes.
one other thing I did was there was this amazing YouTube that all of us at Chaplin were obsessed with called Jessica's Daily Affirmations. And she stands in front of the mirror. She's this little toddler girl. And she like goes like this and like this. And she's like, I can do anything good, better than anyone. Like she's talking to herself in the mirror and she does this movement. And so I added that movement in to Glinda. I was like, that's a very Glinda like
Yes,
movement. So I added a
definitely.
YouTube moment into my Glinda.
Definitely a Glinda movement. What Glinda has like iconic lines throughout the show. Some are more deep than others, but some are just like some bring so much light to the show. Did you have a funny line?
Oh, clearly I'm not going to be able to answer this. I don't remember anything. I mean, obviously it's good to see me, isn't it? It's like
Obviously.
incredible. I don't remember any of the lines. I don't know. Now I want to go back and look through the script and be like, what was my favorite line? I have my favorite song. My favorite song
Ooh.
was to sing Thank Goodness. That was the best.
Oh my goodness. And it has a belting moment in it too. So you're not only are you singing high, but you also get to bring that belting moment.
Yes, which I mean, I was kind of still to this day, I'm like, wow, my voice really, really grew throughout that contract. And um, I am very lucky I have a fan that did an audio recording for me. I'm not supposed
Oh,
to say that, but I have it. Like that's a memory that I get to
yeah.
have. And I don't have a visual recording of it, but I have it from different times of the tour. And sometimes, I'm like, oh, if I'm feeling down, I'll be like, I will sometimes listen to it, be like, you can do it, you can do it. And it's kind of, it's like, it's kind of gross, but like, it's inspiring to be like, wow, my voice did that. Especially after this year of not really singing at all. Um, it just shows you that training and using those muscles are very important.
And it probably brings so much joy to have that memory. Like I feel like
Yeah.
it's so important to have that memory from a dream role that you did.
Yeah, it's really special.
So, how are you like Glinda and how are you different from Glinda? Because I feel like a lot of Glindas are like Glinda in a way. Like they're outgoing, they bring a lot of energy to the room, etc.,
Yes.
which is why they're so good at playing the role.
I mean, you can see behind me, I have a bubble mirror. Like, hello, Glinda, I have a pink chair.
Glinda,
You
definitely.
can't see the rest of my apartment, but it's all pink. Like it's
You're like,
everything I own. Yeah, everything I own in my closet is glitter or sparkly. Like Glinda's, wall of shoes comes out. That's my closet.
yeah.
I mean, I have glitter sparkly pink pants on right now, like and pink slippers.
So you're like, I am Glinda.
I think physically and like outwardly I am her, but um she's a little bit more, she's got her blinders on a little bit, and
Yeah.
they're very, very centered on herself and a mirror. Um,
Yes.
so I think I'm definitely a little more open to seeing others and caring about others instead of just myself.
How you mentioned your voice growing over the run. How do you how do you work on that when you're singing soprano? Because that's high. Like the Glinda songs, they're high notes.
See, for me, they're not high because that's where my voice sits. And I think it was just being able to do the show over and over and over for 13 months where, when the show first started, I was warming up probably an hour every day before the show. And then the more the show carried on, I didn't have to warm up as much because my voice, if you think about it, I'm singing for not straight, but 2.5 hours,
Yeah.
8 times a week. So those muscles are going to become stronger. And this is the same of like going to the gym or running or dancing. Like those muscles become stronger, right? Um, and they just became stronger and it became easier. And oh my God, it was so much fun.
And you're like, I want to go back and do it again.
Yes.
What I mean, let's manifest that because I would love to see you as Glinda. So let's
Yes.
manifest that. So Wicked's a show that's been around since 2003. What do you think makes it so popular and makes it a fan favorite?
Well, it's one of my favorite shows still. I mean, the music, everything about it is wonderful. Like the music is wonderful, the story is wonderful, the costumes are insane. Um the set is, it's otherworldly, so it's a timeless piece. Um it was the first show in a while that really featured two female characters. Yes, they went at each other's throats at the beginning, but it changed and you see a bond between two females and you don't get to see that too much in theater. Um Everything about it is just so unique and special. And then, we're not supposed to say this, but like it is the Wizard of Oz on, 2.0. It's a story that every single American, hopefully, has, grown up with, know the story. And so it's also something a little bit familiar, um, that people are like, oh yeah, I know those characters.
Yes.
And then you see the show and you're like, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I
You,
think it's just wonderful.
you see them all in a different light.
Yeah.
So what was For Good like? Because you mentioned that you and Jenny got really close. So was it just like an emotional train wreck? Like was it like just like crying every night?
Yes. There might have been like a couple nights where we were probably laughing so hard that we turned it into tears. I was really good at that in the show where like
Love that.
we'd be laughing so hard because we're best friends. Like
Yeah.
we'll just look at each other a certain way and it's like, oh no, like, oh no, in front of thousands of people. And I have to turn it into like a cry. But that probably only happened in For Good, like, God, probably like 3 times. And I just couldn't look at her. I would just have to sing out to the audience and like, it was horrible.
Which you probably
Um,
do.
just so bad, so terrible. Um, Again, that probably only happened like 3 times. Our final performance was horrific in a way of like, I could not sing. I think it's somewhere on YouTube actually.
Oh,
I could not sing. And still to this day, we get to do press events
yeah.
together. I cannot sing it to her without crying. Like it's very difficult. I could even cry right now. But like she is my best friend. And oh my God, like it's the hardest thing to do. And then to know that it's your last show with your bestie. You're like, what? And
Oh,
everyone in the wings is watching you. You can see everyone on the side of the stage, like watching. It's a lot of emotions.
hey, but Glinda and Elphaba are supposed to have that chemistry and that bond, so it makes it
Yes.
even better for the audiences who get to witness those Elphas and Glindas who are really close.
Yeah, it's true.
See them on stage together. Do you have a fan favorite like stage door memory from the show? Because as I mentioned, it's such a fan favorite show.
Oh gosh. Well, I don't this always pops into my head, but when we were in Houston, the fans they came out.
Yeah, Texas.
They came out and I mean, Jenny and I after every show, we really would try to sign every single person's thing of whatever they wanted. But we would be out there for like an hour and a half after every show.
Wow.
And even on 2 show days, we go out. But there were a few times where we had to like tweet out, be like, we're so
It's hard.
sorry, we can't come out today. They had to like bring security. It was crazy. But to me, it was always like when people would show up in costume. Like I remember someone came dressed as Elphaba with like the long black wig and the hat. And there was one little girl in Charlotte who dressed as Shiz Elphaba, like and she was tiny, so tiny, and she had a little knit cap. And
My
to
goodness.
me, it's everyone in like the cosplay where I'm like, yes, I found it so cool.
It's the cutest. Everyone loves the show so much.
I
It's
know.
like,
It was really great.
what's an extra 10 minutes putting on green makeup? What's the extra 10 minutes? Who cares?
Yeah.
Let's do it. So, you've tackled a bunch of Broadway over the years. If you could revive any Broadway show you've been in, what would it be and why?
Ooh, any Broadway show I've been in?
Uh-huh.
Hairspray.
That's what I was interviewing someone the other day and they were like, Hairspray is my favorite role.
Wait, who?
JJ Neiman?
Oh, where did he do that? We did Peter Pan regionally somewhere like 500 years ago. So crazy.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Yeah, Hairspray definitely. Wait, you mean like Broadway show that I've been in, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, Hairspray immediately. And what's so fun is every single person who was in it would say the same thing because we all loved it. We're all still a family. Like we all love each other and see each other, and definitely Hairspray.
I think he said he did it regionally, but he was like, I want to do it like 1,000 times.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously that's a great show.
Yes.
You and a fun show to be a part of. I saw you got into hosting. How did you get into hosting and interviewing people yourself?
I'd always wanted to do it forever because it's kind of like being in theater still, but you get to be yourself. And I really liked that. My friends were putting together this thing called the Broadway Style Guide. It's
Ooh.
not really happening anymore. But my friend was involved with it and he was like, we kind of need a host. And I know you would want to do that. And I was like, yep. So I had a meeting with my friend Tony, who we weren't friends at the time, but we met and we've become friends. But Tony was kind of running it. And so I went in very prepared. Like I sold myself really, really well. And they wanted me to do the opening of something. I can't remember what it was. I think American in Paris was the first one I did. And they were like, here's who's coming. And I went in prepped with like, here's my questions. Here's who I want to talk to. This is type of the show I want to do. Like I was already producing it. And they were like, wow, okay. So I did it. I learned a lot. And then I've just been wanting to do more of it ever since. I was lucky enough I got to be a guest host on QVC for a shoe brand called the Flex Shoes. It was great. And I hope I get to do more of it in the future.
And I feel like especially you've done a lot of like red carpets for theater events. Like it especially helps that you have the knowledge and that you can like, you know what the performers, like how rehearsal processes go, you know, like what a Broadway debut feels like, you know what opening night feels like. So
yeah, and it really helped that I was friends with everyone. I remember the opening night red carpet of Fun Home, and everyone on the carpet, meaning press line, had been told, please put away your stuff. Like they were flickering the lights. They were like, we got to start the show. And Sutton walked in, Sutton Foster, and we had done Anything Goes together. And I told my camera guy, I said, keep the camera up. Everyone else was like trying to get her. And I was like, Sutton. And you can see in the video, she walks by and she's like, hey. And then she goes, hey, and comes over right to me. And I'm the only person that got an interview with her.
Oh my goodness.
And, you know, yes, everyone on the red carpet, you know, celebrity wise knows these press people because it's the same 12 press people every time. But there's something different about talking to someone from press and talking to your friend. So the press guys sometimes didn't like me because I got a little bit more time. But now we're all friends. They were so sweet, but they were like, who's this girl? And I was like, I'm friends with them.
Like how cool to be like, hey, I was in a show with Sutton Foster.
I know, it's pretty cool. And she's great.
Oh, wow. And it sounds like she's really down to earth too. So that's something that I'm sure people would love to know.
Yeah.
So what's your dream role on stage?
Linda.
You're like, I've played it.
Okay, other than Glinda, I would love to do Maria in The Sound of Music to graduate to that role.
Yes.
I would love to do Roxy in Chicago.
Ooh.
And I would love to do Queenie in Lippa's Wild Party.
Oh, see, a lot of people have mentioned Wild Party.
Yeah, we did it my one and only year of college. And I mean, I'm friends with Julia Murney now, but like I listened to that cast album over and over and over and over in my VW Greenbug driving to and from school, like dead.
It's a show people love. It's a show, like, if you hear it, you're like, I love it. I'm attached to it.
Good.
I want it back.
Yes.
So hopefully Broadway revival too, maybe.
Oh my God. Well, it wasn't even
Broadway. It was off Broadway.
It would have to be the Broadway debut.
Broadway debut. Yay! I was like, wait, it was. I caught myself.
You're good though. You were good. It was the other one. It was Lechusa. I think.
Yeah,
guys, I'm a terrible theater person. Horrible.
But I've heard good things. Only good things.
I've heard great things
about that show. So how do you work? We've mentioned your Wicked audition was 6 years. How do you work on self-confidence in this industry with like going into auditions, being told no sometimes? Being told no when you want the roles really bad over and over again, and like going in and keeping at it. How do you work on that?
That's a great question. You just kind of got to build yourself up a lot. It's a lot of internal speaking. I'm constantly working on myself, like physically to make myself better. Constantly training. And, you'll be in an audition and you'll be like, I got this. And then all of a sudden someone will walk in and you're like, hey, and then you might hear them through the door and you're like, oh God, like they were really good. And then that kind of starts your engine of like, okay, I got to get that good, And so for me, it's that busy bee inside of me of like, I got to keep going and I got to keep trying. I just think it's how I'm built. But I always tell this to my students that I teach. It's like, you have to love yourself because you yourself can only offer what you are. And that's really, really special. And for some shows, that's going to be the gift that gives you the show. And for some shows, it's not. And so I just think knowing that like, okay, I'm really special and I'm really cool and I fit this show and I don't fit that show. So just know that.
You mentioned teaching. Where can people sign up to take a lesson from you or learn from you?
Yes. So I'm on Broadway Plus. I'm also on Broadway World has a coaching moment, or just write me on Instagram or visit my website. All of those things, you can send me an email and we can set up, coachings and whatever you want.
Perfect. I'll put the links to everything, to the Broadway Plus, to everything in the description. And you also mentioned you're doing a show this summer, or you're set to do a show this summer at the Muni. What
Hopefully.
show are you doing, and when is this happening so people can buy tickets?
You're so sweet. I don't know when it's happening still. We're waiting to hear. Hopefully, if I get to do it, I will be the shimmy girl in Smokey Joe's Cafe.
Ooh.
I'm so thrilled to get to do that show after the pandemic because it's not like it's just a jukebox musical where people get to come and have fun and get to listen to amazing music and see people dance and just be happy. So I hope it gets to happen.
And it's the summer. It seems like it's going to be the summer of live theater returning. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
It's outside. The Muni's outside. It's an 11,000 seat theater. So, we might not get all 11,000 people, but even if we get 8,000, that's, I think, a pretty good number.
Yes, for sure. Do you have anything else that you've been doing during this time that you want to promote, whether it's singing related or not?
Yes, I'm going to promote my girlfriend Cynthia's workout classes.
Yes.
My friend Cynthia Link, she was a Broadway performer and a rockette. She just gave birth like a couple months ago to her little girl, Sienna. She hosts these amazing workout classes. She does a monthly challenge, which Jenny does, my bestie Jenny. But she does these amazing at-home workout classes, and they've kept my brain and body in check this whole time. So everyone, go find Cynthia Link on, I follow her on Instagram, so you can follow her through me or you can find her, but it's Cynthia Link, SYNTHINA Link.
Yep. Perfect. I'll put her in below too, so people know. And where can people find you on social media?
I'm at Hayley _Podschun. At HAYLEY_PODSCHUN.
Yay! And on Instagram, like what platforms?
All of the above.
All of the above. Love it.
Yeah.
So last question, which is a little more complex than I originally made it out to be. Okay. What are you most looking forward to when live theater does return?
Seeing my friends.
I love it.
Yeah, we're all a community and we're all together. And I think all of us being together in our home base of, these dirty, disgusting, old, historic, beautiful theaters, it's not glamorous at all, but we love it. And getting to do what we love all together is just the greatest. So I can't wait to see all my friends.
The curtains are going to come up and everyone's going to be a sobbing mess at the exact same time.
It will be the most joyous cry heard around the world.
Yes, exactly. Well, thank you so much for joining me on my show today.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me. You're wonderful.
Thank you. It's been so fun to talk and to get to know everything about your career. Your career is so impressive.
Thanks, Becca.
Thanks for watching this episode of Backstage with Becca B. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Becca B Talks TV. Or for more exclusive content from this interview and more, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Backstage with Becca B. Make sure to subscribe to my channel and like this video. Or if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, go ahead and give me a 5-star rating. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.